when those brighter days do come our way, then we'll know that we've earned every second.
Hi, this is Julian for Production Expert. Last year I recorded with Jack Kessel, a singer-songwriter, artist local to me, a great musician, and we were using the OC818 condenser microphones from Austrian Audio. We're actually using that in combination with the OC18, which is the same microphone, but instead of having two diaphragms, a multi-pattern microphone, it only has one. It's cardioid only. Here I've got some recordings from those sessions, and these are perfect material to experiment with and demonstrate Polar Designer, which is the free polar pattern manipulating plugin that you can use with the OC818 to manipulate the polar response post-record. The OC818 is a dual diaphragm microphone. It's got a forward-facing cardioid capsule and a rearward-facing cardioid capsule. In any multi-pattern microphone, the output of these two diaphragms is mixed internally to give you all of the different available polar patterns. What you can do with an OC818 is it's got a separate output for the rear-facing capsule. That's unusual. And what you can do is if you use an extra mic preamp and an extra channel in your DAW, as long as the mic gains are matched, you can then mix those in post during your mix using this freely downloadable plugin. So let's have a look. What I've got here is, we'll have a quick listen. It's a vocal and a guitar. Sounds like that. If I come over here and we'll listen to this one, pretty much sounds the same. The reason they sound the same is because I've got here a cardioid only OC18 on the vocal, and over here I've got a cardioid OC818, well, the same cardioid OC818 on the guitar. On the guitar in this recording, I've got the multi-pattern OC818 and same microphone's in the other position. It's on the vocal in the other recording. But we're only listening to the front-facing capsule in both those cases. So in effect, what we've got is two OC18s. We've got two cardioid-only mics, and those mics sound the same. That's why they sound so similar. If I unmute these channels, we'll hear things no longer sound the same.
We'll face the
compared to.
We'll face the.
That's because if we listen to the output of both of these capsules at equal level, we've got an omnidirectional mic. Let's have a look at the plugin to see exactly what this means in practice. We'll have a look at the guitar mic, and here we go. We've got an omni-only response from both capsules. Let's solo that and have a listen to what that sounds like. Now you can manipulate globally from here. Let's have a listen to that in figure 8. Very different. Lots of proximity effect. There's much stronger proximity. There is a proximity effect in figure 8, and it's even stronger than in cardioid, which is what that sounds like. We could even go to reverse cardioid, so only listen to the sound that's not arriving from in front of the microphone. So that's how that works. Where things get really interesting is we can have as many bands as we want, up to 5. So here we're dealing with 2 bands. So if I solo just the bottom end, or if I solo, in this case, just the top end, or everything from 130 hertz upwards, I've got individual control of that. So let's have a listen to that as cardioid, but everything below as omni. It's different. So having this amount of control is kind of useful. You've also got individual level control, which is kind of handy as well, just because some of these patterns will be naturally hotter. For example, figure of 8 will be a bit stronger, and it'll get quieter to go away, and we can compensate for that down here. We can also compensate for tonal changes because they won't sound the same. Off-axis sound and the way directional microphones behave isn't entirely flat, but you can compensate for that using one of 2 choices, free or diffuse field, or choose not to use it. Just try them, see how you get on. And you can dial back proximity effect if you find that you, for example, are running with lots of deep stuff coming from a lot of proximity effect from the bottom end. You can dial it back, or you can increase it if your singer was maybe a little further off than you wanted on the microphone. There's loads that you can do. And as you increase the number of bands, you get proportionally more and more that you can do, and things can get interesting quickly. A good point to make here is that there are crossover filters between all of these bands, but they are phase linear, so they should reconstruct perfectly. You shouldn't be introducing any nasties by splitting and then recombining those sounds. However, that will introduce some latency. So if you want to run in zero latency, then there is going to be some kind of payoff from that, and you can only run a single band. That's the consequence of using phase linear filters. Bit technical. Really what it comes down to is, what do you want to do with the plugin? So in this case, let's get back into this vocal, and we could reset these. Let's go back to Omni. And if I want to cut out some vocal, well, I think I'll start off just with a single band. I'm definitely getting more guitar, more of the signal that I want around this kind of hypercardioid region. So manually speaking, working single band, I could do that. But I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to split to two bands, and I'll keep this stuff up here. But I think I might bring in a little bit more of that bottom end stuff there. Let's bypass that. Okay. Now there is no global trim on here, which you can either get around by introducing a trim using a trim plugin in your DAW, or you can just manually reduce these gains. That's sounding very different indeed, and actually sounding rather good. So what we'll do is we'll jump in here, we'll recombine that with the vocal.
We'll face the dark alone just to say.
And that, just manually doing it by ear, is doing what I wanted it to. You can introduce a little more weight to it possibly, and I think I'm going to try one of these. But even just working off two bands, I'm getting results that I rather like. Of reducing that spill that's inevitable when you're performing two microphones on two different sources at the same time. What we're going to look at in the next video is we're going to look at how you can do something like this, but using some AI that's built into this plugin, and it can do it in a much more targeted way and incredibly quickly using terminate spill, using the terminator controls. So yeah, I'll see you next time.